What if I told you the reason women lose interest isn't because you're not attractive enough, but because you try too hard to keep them? Most men believe love is built through effort, reassurance, and consistency. Machiavelli would laugh at this illusion. Because the moment you stop being a mystery, the moment you make her the center of your world, the chase dies. Today, we solve one brutal problem: why women stop chasing and how to reverse it permanently. Listen carefully, because this is where most men destroy attraction without ever realizing it. They believe presence creates attachment. They believe consistency builds desire. They believe that by being emotionally available, responsive, and reassuring, a woman will value them more. Machiavelli would call this ignorance of human nature. Desire does not grow from what is always present. Desire is born from what can be lost. When something is scarce, the mind assigns it value. When something is guaranteed, the mind grows careless. This is not cruelty. This is psychology. Machiavelli understood that people respect what they fear losing and neglect what they assume will remain. Attraction obeys the same law. The moment a woman senses that your time, attention, and emotional energy are unlimited, her subconscious registers safety instead of desire. Safety is comforting, but it is not intoxicating. Comfort does not create obsession. Scarcity does. Most men make themselves available at all times. They reply instantly, they rearrange their schedules, they explain themselves when questioned, they overcommunicate their feelings in the hope that transparency will create closeness. What they are actually doing is removing tension, and tension is the fuel of attraction. Machiavelli warned rulers never to appear too eager to please the people because eagerness signals weakness. In attraction, eagerness signals the same thing. When you are too available, you communicate that your life has no competing priorities, no internal gravity, no force pulling you forward without her. This quietly lowers your value in her perception. Scarcity does not mean playing games. It means having a life that is genuinely full. It means your attention is earned, not handed out. It means silence is not something you fear, but something you are comfortable with. When you are silent, her mind speaks for you. And the mind, once engaged, does not let go easily. Think about this. When she does not know what you are doing, she wonders. When she does not know when she will hear from you, she anticipates. When she does not feel certain of your emotional position, she invests more emotional energy trying to understand it. This is not manipulation. This is how the human mind responds to uncertainty. Machiavelli observed that people cling harder to unstable power than to stable comfort. The same applies here. When your presence is predictable, it becomes background noise. When your presence is selective, it becomes significant. Scarcity creates gravity. Availability dissolves it. This is why men who are always there are often taken for granted, while men who are slightly out of reach are endlessly pursued. The difference is not cruelty, arrogance, or mystery for its own sake. The difference is that one man's absence creates emotional movement, while the other man's presence creates emotional stagnation. You must understand this deeply. Attraction is not logical, it is emotional, and emotion responds to contrast. Light exists because there is darkness. Desire exists because there is distance. When you pull back appropriately, you allow her to move forward. When you stop overgiving, you give her space to invest. When you stop explaining yourself, you allow curiosity to replace certainty. And curiosity is the doorway to obsession. Most men fear scarcity because they fear being forgotten. Machiavelli would say that fear itself is the weakness. The man who is afraid to be scarce reveals that he needs validation, and need repels. The man who is comfortable being scarce signals abundance. He signals options. He signals inner stability. He signals that his value does not depend on being chosen. This quiet confidence is felt long before it is understood. Scarcity also filters intent. A woman who is merely entertained by you will drift away when access is limited. A woman who is genuinely intrigued will lean in harder. Either outcome serves you. Machiavelli always favored clarity over illusion. Understand this law and everything changes. You stop chasing reactions. You stop filling the silence. You stop trying to secure desire through reassurance. Instead, you let desire grow on its own, because the human mind always wants what it cannot fully grasp, what it cannot fully own, what it might lose if it does not move first. Understand this clearly because this is where power is either claimed or surrendered. Attraction is not decided by looks, words, or effort. It is decided by who controls the frame. Machiavelli taught that the one who defines reality holds authority, and the one who reacts to it becomes subject to it. In relationships, the same law applies with ruthless precision. Most men live inside a woman's frame without realizing it. They adjust their tone based on her moods. They change their behavior to avoid displeasing her. They seek signals, clarity, and reassurance before making their next move. This is not connection. This is obedience disguised as interest. The moment you begin reacting instead of leading, you hand over psychological control. When she pulls back, you chase. When she tests, you explain. When she withholds warmth, you offer more. Every reaction reinforces one silent message. Her emotional state governs your behavior. And once that message is sent, attraction begins to decay. Machiavelli warned rulers never to appear indecisive or reactive because people lose faith in leaders who seek approval before action. A man who chases within her frame does the same thing. He becomes predictable, manageable, safe. Safety has its place, but it is not the birthplace of desire. To control the frame does not mean domination or coldness. It means self-possession. It means you act from your values, your rhythm, your purpose, not from emotional pressure. When you speak, it is because you choose to. When you give attention, it is intentional, not reflexive. When tension appears, you do not rush to neutralize it. Women are acutely sensitive to emotional leadership. They test not because they want conflict, but because they want to know who is steering the emotional direction. When you crumble under tests, over-explain, or seek validation, you fail the test without realizing one was given. A man who controls the frame does not ask, "Is this okay?" with his energy. He does not seek permission to be himself. He does not negotiate his boundaries in moments of emotional pressure. His calm presence communicates stability far louder than words ever could. Most men believe that harmony comes from agreement. Machiavelli understood that respect comes from firmness. When your reality bends too easily, it loses shape. When your frame is solid, others naturally adjust to it. This is why chasing clarity often destroys attraction. When you demand emotional explanations, timelines, or guarantees, you are confessing that uncertainty makes you uncomfortable and discomfort reveals dependence. Dependence is the enemy of desire. A man who controls the frame can tolerate ambiguity. He can sit in silence without anxiety. He can allow her to wonder without rushing to fill the gap. This emotional self-control creates gravity. It tells her that you are not governed by her reactions, but grounded in yourself. Machiavelli wrote that people follow those who appear certain even in uncertain conditions. In attraction, certainty is not about outcomes. It is about identity. You know who you are regardless of how she responds. You know your direction regardless of her approval. This inner certainty makes her adjust because human beings naturally align with strength. Frame control also means refusing to compete for attention. The man who competes signals scarcity. The man who walks away from competition signals abundance. When you do not fight for validation, you silently announce that you do not lack it. Many men fear losing a woman by not chasing. Machiavelli would say that what is maintained by chasing was never power to begin with. If your presence must be constantly reinforced, it has no foundation. When you hold your frame, something subtle shifts. She begins to qualify herself to you. She seeks alignment with your world. She invests more, not because you demanded it, but because your emotional center does not move. This is the reversal most men never experience. They believe attraction is created by pursuit. In truth, attraction is created by direction. When you have direction, others follow. When you chase, you disappear into their path. Control the frame and you control the pace, the tone, and the emotional direction of the connection. And when a woman feels that your reality does not collapse without her participation, she does not try to escape it. She tries to step inside it. Understand this truth because it is uncomfortable and yet undeniable. Human beings do not obsess over what they fully understand. Obsession is born in the gap between certainty and mystery. Machiavelli understood that power is strongest when it is felt but not fully seen. And attraction operates under the same invisible law. Most men believe clarity creates security and security creates loyalty. So they explain their intentions early. They define the relationship. They reveal their emotional position completely. They believe transparency will eliminate doubt and strengthen connection. What they actually do is eliminate curiosity. And when curiosity dies, emotional movement stops. A woman does not become obsessed because she knows exactly where she stands. She becomes obsessed when she is emotionally engaged, yet intellectually uncertain. When her feelings are activated but her conclusions are not complete, her mind returns again and again trying to resolve the tension. Machiavelli wrote that people fear what they cannot predict and desire what they cannot control. Emotional uncertainty blends both. It is not chaos. It is not cruelty. It is structured unpredictability. The man who creates obsession is not unstable. He is consistent in character but ambiguous in emotional access. This is where most men misunderstand the concept. They think uncertainty means inconsistency, emotional games, or withdrawal that is weakness. True uncertainty is calm, not erratic. It is the quiet confidence of a man who does not feel the need to narrate his emotions in real time. When you constantly reassure, you remove emotional friction. When you constantly explain, you close every open loop. The human brain hates open loops, but it obsesses over them. By leaving certain things unsaid, you allow her mind to do the work. And what the mind works on, it values. Consider how obsession forms. It is not triggered by grand gestures. It is triggered by unanswered questions. Why did he say that? Why did he smile and then go silent? Why does he seem present but not dependent? These questions create internal dialogue, and internal dialogue creates attachment. Machiavelli understood that mystery strengthens authority. A ruler who reveals every intention invites resistance. A ruler who allows interpretation maintains power. In attraction, when you explain everything, you give away leverage. When you allow interpretation, you maintain intrigue. Emotional uncertainty also shifts the balance of investment. When everything is clear, investment stagnates. When something feels unresolved, the mind seeks resolution. She begins to invest emotionally, seeking clarity, not because you ask for it, but because she wants it. Most men fear being misunderstood. Machiavelli would say that being misunderstood is often safer than being fully known too soon. Familiarity breeds contempt, but mystery breeds attention. When she feels she has not fully reached you, she moves closer. This is why predictability kills desire. When she knows you will always respond the same way, always forgive, always stay, always explain, there is no emotional risk. Without risk, there is no excitement. Without excitement, desire fades. A man who creates emotional uncertainty does not withdraw affection. He withholds emotional guarantees. He does not promise permanence before it is earned. He allows the connection to breathe, to fluctuate, to unfold naturally without forcing definition. Machiavelli warned that those who rush to secure power often lose it. In attraction, rushing to secure commitment signals fear of loss. Fear is felt even when it is not spoken, and fear shifts the emotional dynamic against you. When you are emotionally grounded, uncertainty arises naturally. You are not trying to confuse her. You are simply not chasing closure. You are not racing to label. You are not forcing reassurance. This calm non-attachment is deeply unsettling in a world where most men are emotionally reactive. Her mind begins to circle you. She replays interactions. She looks for patterns. She tries to decode you. And in that decoding attachment forms, obsession is not created by possession. It is created by pursuit. And pursuit only exists when something feels just out of reach. When she feels that your emotional world is not fully accessible on demand, she values access more. This does not mean being cold. It means being selective. It means warmth without surrender, presence without explanation, interest without dependency. Machiavelli knew that power lies in controlling how much of yourself others can access. In attraction, the same principle holds. Reveal enough to engage, but never enough to eliminate mystery. Let her feel you, but never fully hold you, because what cannot be fully held is never fully released. This is the final law, and it is the one that makes all the others permanent. Without this, scarcity collapses into fear, frame control turns into tension, and uncertainty becomes insecurity. Machiavelli understood that true power does not come from holding on, but from the ability to let go without loss of self. Most men say they could walk away. Very few actually can, and women sense the difference instantly. The man who cannot walk away negotiates his value through tolerance. He accepts behavior he resents. He stays quiet when boundaries are crossed. He trades self-respect for access. This is not love. This is survival disguised as commitment. Machiavelli warned rulers never to depend on the goodwill of others for their stability. Dependence is weakness in attraction. Emotional dependence is the fastest way to lose leverage. The moment a woman senses that losing her would destabilize you, the power dynamic shifts against you. Walking away is not an action. It is a position. It is not something you threaten. It is something you embody. It exists in your posture, your tone, your silence, your standards. You do not announce it. You demonstrate it by what you refuse to tolerate and what you are willing to lose. The man who can walk away does not argue endlessly. He does not beg for understanding. He does not chase explanations. He observes, decides, and moves accordingly. This calm decisiveness is rare, and rarity creates value. Most men fear walking away because they believe attraction is fragile. Machiavelli would say that anything so fragile was never secure. If your presence must be constantly defended, negotiated, or explained, it is already losing power. When you are the prize, you do not prove your worth, you protect it. This is where standards matter. A man without standards will accept anything. A man with standards will be tested. Tests are not punishments. They are evaluations. A woman tests not to push you away, but to see where you stand. When you fold, you fail silently. Walking away does not mean leaving at the first sign of discomfort. It means knowing the line you will not cross. It means valuing your peace more than temporary connection. It means choosing self-respect over emotional intoxication. Machiavelli believed that those who are willing to lose power often end up with more of it. When you are genuinely willing to lose a woman rather than lose yourself, something counterintuitive happens. She senses that you are not clinging. And where there is no clinging, there is freedom. Where there is freedom, desire survives. The man who can walk away does not need to control. He does not need to manipulate. His strength lies in detachment, not indifference. He cares, but he is not captive to the outcome. This creates a psychological paradox. The less you need her to stay, the more she feels compelled to choose you. Not because you demanded it, but because your presence is not desperate for validation. Most men try to become the prize by acquiring status, looks, or money. Machiavelli would say these are tools, not foundations. The true prize is a man who is internally stable, self-directed, and unafraid of loss. When a woman realizes that your world will continue with or without her, she faces a choice. Step into your world or step away from it. And when that choice is real, attraction becomes conscious. Walking away also protects you. It filters out chaos, manipulation, and emotional drain. It ensures that the woman who stays does so because she chooses you, not because you tolerate her behavior. The man who is the prize does not cling to potential. He responds to reality. He does not stay for promises. He stays for alignment. Machiavelli taught that power maintained through fear collapses. But power maintained through respect endures. When you can walk away, you inspire respect. And respect is the soil where lasting desire grows. This is why the ability to walk away is the ultimate attraction trigger. It signals self-worth without arrogance, strength without aggression, confidence without noise, when she knows that losing you would cost her more than losing herself. She does not try to control you. She tries to keep you because nothing is more magnetic than a man who values himself enough to leave What does not value him? Machiavelli never taught men how to be loved. He taught them how to understand power, and attraction has always followed the same laws as power. When you understand these laws, everything you once tried to force begins to happen naturally. A woman does not chase because you ask her to. She chases because something inside her is activated. Scarcity makes your presence meaningful. Frame control makes your reality solid. Emotional uncertainty keeps her mind engaged. And the ability to walk away makes your value undeniable. Most men fail because they try to secure desire instead of allowing it to grow. They overgive, over-explain, and over-attach. Believing effort creates attraction. Machiavelli would say that effort without leverage creates contempt, not devotion. When you live by these principles, you stop chasing outcomes. You stop fearing loss. You stop negotiating your worth. You become calm, grounded, and internally sovereign. And from that position, attraction is no longer something you pursue. It is something that responds to you. This is not manipulation. It is aligned with human nature. People are drawn to strength, mystery, and self-possession. When you embody these traits, you do not need tricks, tactics, or promises. Your presence does the work. A woman chases forever, not because you trap her, but because she never fully owns you. She feels free to choose you, and freedom is the only condition under which desire survives. Machiavelli understood that the strongest influence is invisible. When you master yourself, others follow without being asked. And when desire is born from choice rather than need, it does not fade, it deepens.